welcome back to the channel. I am yours truly, and today we're going to look at Oklahoma and predict their schedule for 2023. Now, Oklahoma last year was a big disappointing season led by the first year head coach, Brent Venables. He had a lot of promise coming in, and he started off 3-0, and then the wheels on the bus just fell off for Oklahoma. They ended up finishing the season at 6-6, which qualified them for a bowl game, and they lost to Florida State. So they ended up with a losing record. So, anyways, let's look into some odds for 2023 set by the Vegas sports books. Now, if we take a look at Oklahoma's odds for 2023, set by the Vegas sports books. Now, each sports book is going to be a little bit different, but generally this is going to be the number they're looking for, or as far as the number they will set. Right now, the over/under win total for Oklahoma this year is at 9.5. So what that means is if you feel confident Oklahoma will go 10-2 or better, you bet the over. If you feel confident that Oklahoma will go 9-3 or worse, you bet the under. Pretty simple. Now, this is not counting any championship games or playoff games or bowl games. It won't count any. Those games won't count. So the national title odds for Oklahoma this year are at plus 6,000, which that would make it at tied for 15th with Texas A&M as far as 15th best odds. Plus 6,000 means if you bet $100 down that Oklahoma will win the national title, and they do win the national title, you get $6,000 back, or you win $6,000. For the Big 12 title this year, Oklahoma is at plus 350, which those are second best odds only to Texas this year. So, like I said, if you put $100 down saying Oklahoma will win the Big 12, and they do win the Big 12, you get 350 back. Now, this is the last chance for Oklahoma to win the Big 12 as they're moving to the SEC along with Texas next year. So, anyways, let's look at the schedule for Oklahoma in 2023. As we take a look at Oklahoma's schedule for 2023 very briefly, what I could see from this, just briefly looking at it, is that this looks like a very weak schedule for Oklahoma. I think the Big 12 gave them a very favorable schedule in their last year in the Big 12. Now, Oklahoma did get screwed by Georgia because they were supposed to play Georgia this year in Oklahoma, but Georgia canceled on Oklahoma. The reason was the SEC told Georgia to schedule or to cancel the Oklahoma series, which I don't really buy that because the SEC does not have control over non-con schedules as far as their members. Now, the SEC could have did was let Georgia play Oklahoma this year, and then when Oklahoma joined the SEC, their first year joining the ACC, they could have made Oklahoma go to Georgia because the original plan was for Georgia to go to Oklahoma this year, and then for Oklahoma to go to Georgia in 2029. Obviously, by that point, Oklahoma was going to be in the SEC at that point. So, I don't know. The SEC says they told Georgia to cancel that game. I'm just not buying that excuse. So, anyways, let's pick some winners and losers. Enough of my rant on Georgia and Oklahoma, that controversy. So, let's pick some winners and losers. The first game on the schedule is a home game with Arkansas State. I think this one will be a 40-50 point win. Arkansas State is just in shambles right now in the group of 5 in the Sun Belt. The next game on the schedule is a home game with SMU. SMU is one of the fairly decent teams in the group of 5. Not like a top of the line contender in the group of 5, but not terrible. But I think Oklahoma will take care of business at home against SMU. The next game on Oklahoma's schedule is a road game with Tulsa. And Tulsa can make this is a bit of a rivalry game between Oklahoma and Tulsa. And Tulsa can make this a little bit of an interesting game. They just hired a new coach as well. However, I do think Oklahoma will take care of business in Tulsa and beat Tulsa. And then the next game after that, they open their Big 12 conference play with a road trip to Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati will be in the Big 12 for the first time this year. And they had to hire a new coach after Luke Fickell left them for the Wisconsin job. So this probably will be an interesting game. However, I think Cincinnati will get a reality check and lose to Oklahoma, so give Oklahoma a win on this one. The next game on Oklahoma's schedule, if there is going to be a trap game, it's going to be this one. It's a home game against Iowa State. Iowa State last year was probably the biggest disappointing team in the Big 12. From a mid-pack team in the Big 12 to being the worst team in the Big 12. Somehow being worse than West Virginia as they went 4-8. I think Iowa State will be able to slow down Oklahoma on offense as they're the best defense in the Big 12. However, I do have questions about Iowa State on offense and being able to keep up, being able to beat the Oklahoma defense, which is expected to be better this year than it was last year. I'm not saying that it's going to be monumentally better, but I just have questions about Iowa State on offense. So I think Oklahoma, gets a win by 2 or 3 touchdowns over Iowa State. And then the next game after that is their biggest game of the year, is the Red River shootout against Texas. And last year they were shut out by Texas in an embarrassing game by Oklahoma, a 49-0 beating by their arch rival. I'm going to just spoil it for everybody. I think Texas is going to get you again this year. However, it's not going to be a 49-0 beating this time. I think it's going to be, I don't know, probably a 1 to 2 touchdown game. I think it's going to be a close game between these two teams, and I think this is going to be a great game between these two teams. So at this point, Oklahoma takes their first loss of the season. The next game after their bye week that Oklahoma will play is a home game with UCF, and I think this game, Oklahoma is going to take their day out on UCF after losing to Texas the game before. I think this is going to be a convincing win for Oklahoma and an ugly loss for UCF. I think Oklahoma wins probably about 3 or 4 touchdowns over UCF at home. Then the next game after that, they will have to go on the road to Kansas. And Kansas last year had their best season in a long time. They got the 6-6, went to a bowl game. Unfortunately, they lost the bowl game. I think Kansas this year is going to be decent as well. I don't think they're going to be in the basement like they are most years in the Big 12. I think Oklahoma squeaks out a win on the road to Kansas because Kansas is not a very intimidating road environment or hostile crowd at Kansas unless you ask Texas. Then that's a different story if you ask Texas. So anyways, Oklahoma gets the win over Kansas. The next game on Oklahoma's schedule is a road trip to Oklahoma State. And this is going to be a very intense game for both teams, as this is going to be the last game of the Bedlam series for the foreseeable future, as Oklahoma has come out and said they do not plan on scheduling the Bedlam series with Oklahoma State once they get into the SEC as kind of like a jab to Oklahoma State. And this is going to be a type of game I feel like that Oklahoma State is going to push in all their poker chips into the table, wanting to basically win this game at all cost to get a parting. And I think they will win this game in an upset over Oklahoma to give Oklahoma a parting shot out the door of the Big 12 and be able to reclaim Bedlam and keep it in Stillwater until they decide to play each other again. The next game for Oklahoma is a home game with West Virginia. Now, if you've been a regular viewer of this channel, you know my opinion about West Virginia. I think West Virginia is going to be the worst team in the Big 12 this year, and that opinion hasn't changed from previous videos to now. I think Oklahoma is going to get a win at home against West Virginia to move to 8-2 on the season. The next game on Oklahoma's schedule is a road trip to BYU. Now, BYU, like UCF and Cincinnati, is their first season in the Big 12. And Oklahoma can lose this game if they're not careful. However, I think Oklahoma just sneaks by with a win by, I would say, probably by a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns against the Bicycle College at BYU. Now, the last game on the schedule is against TCU at home. And TCU last year dominated the Big 12. Unfortunately, they lost in the Big 12 title game. They still made the playoff, won against Michigan, then got beaten by Georgia in the championship. However, I do think TCU is going to be less potent this year than last year, and I think they're going to be just docile enough for Oklahoma to win this game in a shootout against TCU. So give me the win over TCU. So that wraps up the 2023 schedule prediction for Oklahoma. And according to my prediction, they're going to go 10-2. Now, do I feel like they're going to go 10-2 team? No. But just the way their schedule plays out, they have a very favorable schedule in the Big 12 this year. Plus, they play no non-con Power 5 opponents, thanks to them getting canceled by Georgia. I think the ceiling for Oklahoma this year is going to be 11-1. I don't think they're going to go 12-0. I just do not see that happening. And then the floor for Oklahoma this year, I think, is going to be 8-4. With possible losses to Iowa State. You could throw in BYU. You could throw in TCU. Any number of teams. So, anyways, that's all I got for Oklahoma. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. My goal right now is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the time kickoff the college football season starts this year. I know that sounds like me shooting for the moon without a rocket ship, but I do have hopes. I do have hopes and goals for this channel. And shoot, once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I want to keep going past 1,000 subscribers. I don't want to say, "Oh, I hit 1,000. All right, time for me to quit YouTube." No, that's not how I want to play. That's my first major milestone that I want to hit for this channel is 1,000. So, hitting that subscribe button for me will help me reach my goal and see the hope at the end of the tunnel. So just go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. Tell everybody in the neighborhood how great and awesome I am. I don't really care. It would mean a lot to me, even for a channel this size. And you think, oh, he's only got like 200 views. An extra view, extra subscriber, extra like, it means a lot to me. I'm pretty much do all the editing, all the thumbnail work, what little, I don't want to say what little, but all the thumbnail art, all the editing, all the recording. I'm doing all that all by myself. So it would go a long way to show that you greatly appreciate the content and keep me making these videos. If you just keep hitting the subscribe button, the like button, singing positive feedback about the predictions and all that, it would mean a lot. And I'm not saying I don't want to take no criticism at all, within reason. Or you basically saying, I think this team is gonna go this, not like, oh, you suck and you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, most of the experts on Fox and ESPN really don't know what they're talking about either. Just because they went and played college football, they have just as good of a guess as I do. The difference is they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm just an idiot with a microphone and a computer and an internet connection. So, anyways, it would mean the world to me if you hit the like, subscribe button. And until next time, thank you for watching.